And now I've got these two to look at, which is actually stuff relating to Serene's kit. Because yeah, I think it's necessary to dig through this, especially after what was shown before. So, today they're bringing us Sereni, who is a support character who summons the memosprite blank. They're not naming it, okay. She can also provide powerful exclusive buffs to Chrysos Heir allies, yes. She can activate ultimates of all allies, which is awesome. I'm actually really impressed that they've pulled that off for every character, regardless of their generation for it. I like that. And her zone allows them to deal additional true damage. Which means that, yes, she's a replacement spot for the Trailblazer. Meaning, for me, I get to turn the Trailblazer back into Harmony, because my break team needs that back. While Sereni is on the field, increases all allies' damage, and her zone allows them to deal additional true damage. The first time Sereni uses her ultimate in battle, it activates the ultimates of all team members, summoning a memosprite to assist in combat and allows her to enter a special state. The first time that she uses her ultimate in each battle, it activates... They've specified that already, because it's literally mentioned here. So I feel like I'm repeating myself. Upon entering the ripples of past reverie state, she gains an enhanced basic attack. Both her and a memosprite's crit rate is increased. Does it say by how much anywhere? While in the ripples of past reverie state, she deploys a skill zone which has no duration limit, okay, and allows all allies to deal additional true damage. So she can't run out. Ooh, no turn limit. I like that. So yeah, she really is a buff on the Trailblazer's kit. Each time Sereni uses her ultimate, the memosprite, it's showing the icon instead of showing blank, immediately gains extra turns. During its turns, the memosprite can either grant a powerful exclusive buff to an ally Chrysos Heir or deal damage to all enemies. So that's why it did 2. So it potentially has 2 extra turns. Fine, sure, that works. The memosprite can grant buffs to multiple Chrysos Heirs in succession, allowing different exclusive effects to be active at the same time. So that's why. So what you do in a Feign and Comp is probably apply it to him and to Ceredra, and then use Ceredra to buff him with her ult first. And then do Feignans. Using it on a non-Chrysos Heir ally increases the damage they deal. I would love numbers for this. Thank you very much. A meteor streaks across the night sky, sending ripples through the river of life, gleaming in 13 hues. Daughter of Ides Elysiae, Chrysos Heir who nourishes blank, sow the seed of memory, sow the flower of the past may bloom in tomorrow. Now let's write a different kind of poem together. That feels like it's specifically a reference to what's gonna happen in story. I am confident she is literally creating a seed of memory using Amphorius as its basis. First encounter. Is this a meeting ordained by fate or a long overdue reunion? It's making my heart beat faster. Then please once again call me Sereni just like when we first met, okay? About self-existence. From the innocent mem to the lively Sereni, you made my story more and more complete. No matter how ripples stir, they are all odes we ourselves wrote down together. Hobbies, the stars. When I have trouble sleeping, I count the stars in the sky and imagine a shooting star flying across the night and diving into my dreams. Then I wake up with a smile and start a bright new day, because I know it wasn't a dream. Every memory turns into ripples. Her idol, she summons Mem! Let's go! Next one. She gets a swing! Okay, so the planets aren't unique to the bow. Great, that makes the bow less desirable. Because the planets are a neat touch, I like that. The potential solar system maybe that, you know, Amphorius could end up in. It'd be pretty cool. Basic attack and enhanced basic, alright? So the basic is just that, and yeah. It's a reference to Elysia's hold down attacks in third as Herrscher of Human Ego. It's kind of neat to see, I won't lie, it does make me smile. Gain 1 recollection point and deals ice damage based on Serene's max health to one designated enemy. Okay. I would love the percentages really bloody badly, I won't lie. Gives a certain number of recollection points and deals ice damage based on Serene's max HP to one designated enemy. Then deals ice damage to all enemies to love and tomorrow. Cannot recover skill points. Okay, no skill points again. I wonder if eventually to nerf the Remembrance comp, they're either going to completely handicap characters that summon entities, specifically in how the way memosprites work, or are they going to attack the ones who don't use skill points? So if you don't use a skill point, you're reducing damage. Either way, it effectively cripple Remembrance, because I do think long term they're going to have to cripple it. They're going to have to either make it part of the end game modes, or for end game modes that require certain comps, or to push people to pull on the new banners, they'll have to completely cripple this comp. Skill. Bloom, Elysium of Beyond. Pretty animation. Very pretty. Gives a certain number of recollection points, and deploys a zone that lasts several turns. It said it didn't have a turn limit. What? What? Oh, I misread that. That's rude. That's sad. Okay, fine. I see how it is. For each instance of damage dealt by all allies targets, deals at one additional instance of true damage to a percentage of the original damage. Okay. When she's downed, of course, the zone disappears. Talent. Hearts Gatherers 1. Cute. Also, Child of Remembrance being one of her traces. That's crazy. Okay, fine. I see how it is. When combat begins or after Sereni takes action, other ally characters under any state and their memo sprites gain future. When all targets with future take action, they consume future to grant Sereni recollection. When she has 24 recollection points, her ult can be activated. And all debuffs on her are dispelled. When she has 12 recollection points while in the Ripples of Past Reverie state, her ultimate can be activated. After reaching the maximum recollection points, can overflow to a certain extent, to a certain number of points. While Sereni is on the field, increased damage dealt by all ally targets. Nice. So yeah, no, they're proving me correct on the fact that teams with Remembrance characters are able to just build their stacks up way faster. By like an extra 4. Like, come on. It's not even debatable what team comp she is optimum for. And I think that's correct. I think she should be optimum for them. Technique. Peace at West Wind's End. Rude. Mentioning the West Wind again. Anytime it's mentioned just makes me depressed. After the technique is used, creates a special dimension that lasts for several seconds around the character. Enemies within this dimension enter the This Moment Forever state. Enemies under the This Moment Forever state will stop all movement. Increased movement speed for the allied characters within this special dimension. After entering combat within the duration, deploys the skill zone. Only one dimension effect created by allies can exist at the same time, which the Remembrance team has no other, because technically it's not a dimension effect that applies for Casterus, it's a domain. Ultimate. Let's look at all those blanks for the name. Summons memosprite blank, causes it to immediately gain 1 extra turn, and activates all teammates' ultimates. Then enters the Ripples of Past Reverie state with basic attack enhanced to Love and Tomorrow, and can only use basic attack. Increase Serene's and Blank's crit rate, and deploys the zone effect from the skill with no active duration. It's the duration part that matters. So she gets her skill equivalent once her ultimate triggers. That's what they're referring to. Fine, fair enough. Meaning once you get her ultimate, her zone will last infinitely, which actually benefits Fanon because you're unable to get her back on the field. Can only be used once per combat. Blank's initial HP equal to a percentage of Serene's. So yeah, based on my understanding, you're targeting speed first, because apparently once you get enough speed, the allies' damage is increased by a set percentage. Then you aim for HP, and because her crit rate is specified to increase depending on the percentage it increases by, if it's like, for example, Hyacine who gets 100% for some reason, then you'd go for crit damage. Reunion at first sight causes blank to immediately gain 1 extra turn. Fair. Memosprite talent, waiting in every past. Yeah, this is basically just Serene's through the previous incarnations. The one that, probably the versions that remember everything else that our Sereni doesn't know. The blank's speed remains at 0, and blank will not appear on the action order. While on the field, it is considered as out of bounds. Interesting. That's new. When changes occur on Serene's HP percentage, blank's HP percentage will also change accordingly. When blank is on the field and Serene and blank's max HP increases, after using abilities, all continuous effects, duration on this unit decrease by 1. Neither allies nor enemies can actively select out of bounds units. Nice to know. Hello world. When blank is summoned, dispels crowd debuffs from all allies. Okay, fair. And that's not loading. Rude. That's broken images. Minuet of Blooms and Plumes deals ice damage to all enemies based on blank's max HP. Fair enough. Memosprite skill 2. This ode to all lives applies a buff to one designated ally character. When the designated character is a Chrysos Heir, they create a Amphorius related special effect. When the designated character is not a Chrysos Heir, increases that target's damage for several turns. Also takes effect for Memosprites. Nice. And then here they all are listed. We did go through all of these in the Keeping Up with Star Rail, so I'm not going to read them all again. It's nice that we actually know what all of them do. I'd say that probably the best ones to apply is... I'd say Evernight is kind of cracked because of the way it works with a kit. After it's used on her, increases damage dealt by Eevee in Dreams Dissolvers Do, which is one of her main damage sources. And then after she uses her skill or ultimate, increases more Memoria, which makes her stacks build up faster. And her crit damage boost effect provided by the skill is further increased. Meaning, her crit damage spreads through your entire team more. Which, if it's a crit-based team that uses it, yeah, why wouldn't you want it? Phaenon's is absolutely broken if you can make Sereni work well with him, because the main issue I see with her is she benefits the most from having Remembrance team members on board in order to use their memosprites to give her stacks. Phaenon's team so far doesn't use any Remembrance characters if you're doing it optimally. I can't even do his team optimally, to put into perspective. I have his team for me currently is him, Sunday, Bronya, and Dan Hung. His optimum team would replace Bronya with Ceredra to double up meteors. And then there's of course the Castrus one, which I also think is pretty damn incredible. When used on her, her new bud can overflow to a certain percentage, and it increases the damage multiplier. You can't go wrong with that, you just can't. I think that Anax's is also pretty good. That it recovers his skill points for allies and allows him to take action immediately. And he just gets more stacks on damage. And boosts all... They spell erudition wrong, by the way. That's a typo. That's meant to be erudition, not audition. So his buffs every character on his team if he is being run with, for example, the Herter. So I'd say those are the characters that benefit the most from these buffs. Character traces. When a teammate's memosprite is summoned, it gains future, and future held by memosprites cannot be consumed. Meaning they keep going. Huh? Future held by memosprites cannot be consumed. Huh. That's very interesting. So is it their desummoning that gives her the stack, or do they just infinitely provide it? Theoretically. Ripples across time. When there are Chrysos Heirs or Remembrance Path characters aside from Sereni on the team, she gains a different amount of recollection points at the start of combat. Okay. That doesn't change the bonus, though, from having memosprites. So unless the wording of this, because there's a detailed explanation normally for stuff like this. This isn't the detailed explanation. It's not giving us percentages and it's not giving us an amount. If they give an amount and it turns out that Chrysos Heirs are able to build her stacks just as effectively, then that actually makes her able to be used effectively with characters like Fanon, who don't use other remembrance units. We'll see. Causality in oh god. It's early for me. I've been awake for a while, but I'm sleep deprived, man. Don't make me pronounce big words at this time. I'm tired. Trichtonomy. When Serene's speed reaches a certain threshold, increases all allies' damage dealt. Then, for each point of speed exceeded, increases Sereni and Blank's ice res penetration by a certain percentage up to a certain limit. I do like that. You know what? You could be fast as hell. Do more murder. And yeah, she's using exactly what I expected her to. I farmed this on absolute mass, by the way. I have like over 120 of this. And I have the amount I need of this because it's common sense she was going to use it. Now, next is a Lightcone. Really, man? Okay. Let's see if it's the Lightcone that impacted why they were doing stuff. Okay. Love that art. It's beautiful. Having a wedding veil, too. Okay, let's go, girl. Sure. Increases the wearer's speed by 18%. Already nuts for her, based on what we know. When the wearer's memosprite uses a memosprite skill on an ally, gains blank, which increases damage taken by all enemies by 10%. We take that. Yeah, let's go. When the wearer's memosprite uses a memosprite skill on an enemy, gains verse, which increases the crit damage of all allies by 16%. Yay! Support Lightcone. Let's go. We love that. For me. When the wearer's memosprite has both blank and verse, increases the effects of blank and verse by 60%. Crazy! And it only works on characters on the path of remembrance. I wonder what team comp she's built for. Oh god, alright, let's go. The azure sky reflects a brilliant tomorrow. 1 step, 2 steps. The maiden's path has been so long, but fortunately, those cherished stories haven't been forgotten by the cycles of time. Now, written together by everyone, the epic has been completed, welcoming its finale. Stars, flowers, birds, and a beautiful new world. Brain, work, please. Gauze reefs, long dresses, and the wind that carries blessings. The quest of 30 million lifetimes transformed into a single moment of happiness. Enough to outweigh an eternity of words. It's a promise. The girl turns around and gives a gentle smile. One of us stays in the past, and the other walks towards the future, but our hearts have never been apart. She rises onto her toes and steps into the past, and the memory, transforming into ripples of past reverie, drift towards tomorrow. So yeah, no. The second version of Sereni, the one that March potentially met in the past space, and the one that acknowledged us when we were going through the tomb, is probably the version that's stepping into the past. Because the only way that this future could exist is by that past having happened. Interesting. So they're basically confirming here that a world was created as a result of what happens in Amphorius, which is nice. They created the epic. Her passing on the memories to the future, that past version is the reason this could happen at all. I'm pretty sure it's confirming my theory on what's going on here. That Serene's essentially turned the memories of Amphorius into a seed of some kind that she's gonna plant and it'll create a new world. We owe Fooly nothing. Fooly didn't help. Sereni did. But think. Sereni canonically doesn't seem anywhere near to be carrying the power March does. I will be interested to see how the rating pistol registers her. Because March currently, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Children of Remembrance are going to be doing long term. And I'm anticipating the eventual full version of March battlesuit. Like, long term, they have to give us a stronger March. They have to, in accordance to what she is. It would be a missed opportunity if they didn't. Let it be in a few years, yeah? I'm not going to rush that. Just eventually, I think they should. And I'd also like it if her and Sereni kept close. The comments about pink-haired girls. It's nice that they have a companionship of sorts, and how chill they were when they first met, even though Evernight tried to effectively murk things. Sorry, Sereni. But I like this. I think that it's neat. They're not giving us any hint of what eidolons do yet, so I'm still curious why they used E5 or E6 in the demonstration in the special program. The one thing I don't like is probably the fastest way to view that stuff is to watch content creators using the creator server, which I still think is blatantly wrong, and it's basically making the big fish able to eat more, and the small fish will never grow. Because you're not competing with someone on equal footing. I don't even make that kind of content. I don't care particularly for it either, because to me, you can just read a character's kit and know what it does. But I don't like that they're giving an advantage to big creators to be able to make content faster, because you're making it so the others who make that kind of content are stuck behind them. Either way, Sereni will come home. I'm looking forward to bringing her home. And hopefully you guys have fun with getting her or experiencing the story or whatever you aim on doing. Based on everything I've read, she is optimum for Remembrance teams, especially ones that have Chrysos Heirs within them. Long term, I can totally see, for example, Castorus getting crept by a better Remembrance DPS. I'm hoping long term it'll be an upgraded version of March, but when that eventually happens, I think that depending on the eidolons you have for example, Evernight, she will always be valid for Remembrance comp, as long as they use crit damage. And Sereni, because she is able to provide unique buffs to Remembrance characters, as long as you have herself and one of a Chrysos Heir present, her ult is always going to be worth it. Even if she's not able to buff the main DPS, if you are able to deal enough damage still and provide enough bonuses, she's worth running with Remembrance characters. The one thing I'm expecting is one of her eidolons makes her more valid to use on non-Remembrance characters, and that's why I'm betting they showcased her in the special program using eidolons, which I think is wrong still. But yeah, that's the best I've got. Hopefully you guys have fun with this, and let me know what you think about Sereni. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night, morning, day, whatever time it is, wherever you guys are in the world.